Molly, the time is yours.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I'm assuming you introduced me, Stefan. I'm Molly Soeby. I live in Minnesota, Preston, Minnesota, in the United States. And I'm here to talk about the Alliance for Unitive Justice today. The Alliance for Unitive Justice is a nonprofit located in Richmond, Virginia, United States. And I've been working with it for a while. I graduated from a graduate school with Sylvia Clute, who is a former trial attorney who practiced for 28 years in U.S. courtrooms, which are very adversarial. After 28 years, she was very disillusioned because no matter who wins, nobody really wins. There's no healing. And in conflicts, when neither party heals, it just didn't feel right to her. After reading the book, A Course in Miracles, where justice is described in two ways, one being retributive and one being justice as love, Sylvia set out to find out what justice as love meant, because it certainly wasn't what she learned in law school in the United States. It's a form of justice with no punitive measures, is what unitive justice is. I became involved with this after reading a draft of Sylvia's book called Unitive Justice, Bending the Arc of Justice Toward Love. And this was a couple of years ago. I have a son and a daughter-in-law who are incarcerated in the U.S. federal prison system. My husband and I are raising their two children, and we have had them for about 7.5 years. And I know firsthand what this system looks like, how corrupt it is, how expensive it is for families to have loved ones incarcerated. And after reading Sylvia's book, I knew there was a better way. Teaching justice as love was something that I wanted to get involved with. And I determined this was the way I wanted to spend the rest of my working life. So justice as love teaches many things, but there are no punitive elements in it. Unitive justice works in schools, universities, law schools, and even prisons. It's a more effective model than restorative justice, which you may have heard of or be familiar with, in that it has a solid theory that, when taught with fidelity, has very predictable results. Talking about punitive structures, when we look at ACEs, which are adverse childhood experiences, that is one of the things that unitive justice keeps in mind as we teach schools. Examples of ACEs include physical or emotional abuse, having a parent who is mentally ill, incarcerated, divorced, all of those types of things. ACEs were identified by a study by Kaiser Permanente, which is a large healthcare system in the US. And they asked many, many thousands of people if they experienced any of these things before they were 18. And children that are more likely to experience them are listed on the side. Families who have economical stress, poverty, parents who use corporal punishment or spank, parents who've been abused, communities that have a high rate of violence. So it's everywhere in the world. The ACEs that were identified are also associated with toxic stress. And when people have toxic stress, when they become adults, they have many adverse experiences because of that. Difficulty forming relationships with others, trouble keeping a job, difficulty with finances, depression is another, a greater likelihood of being involved in violence, greater likelihood of unplanned pregnancies, early pregnancies, being incarcerated, exposing their own offspring to ACEs, a higher risk of alcohol and substance abuse, a greater risk of suicide attempts, and health issues like heart disease, liver disease, cancer. All of these things can happen because somebody has had lots of childhood ACEs. A model developed by, I think I got 2 slides here. Let me go back one. A model developed by Dr. Bruce Perry, who has dealt with traumatized children from many school shootings, bombings, and other tragic experiences, is called the neurosequential model. And you may or may not have heard, but we've had another school shooting in the United States yesterday, where 2 students and 2 teachers were killed. And it's just, these tragic experiences just are ongoing. With this model, any kind of outside stimuli that comes to us is processed in the same order in our brains. It always starts in our brain stem, and then it moves up toward the midbrain, to the limbic system, and then to the cortex. In the brain stem, it's a fight or flight response. And then when it moves up, when it gets to the limbic system, the response that we have is generally an emotional response, or sometimes it's we shut down completely. When we get to the cortex, that's where we can look at planning. We have executive function, the being able to work in time. But what happens when people are traumatized is they get stuck in the brainstem or the limbic area. The cortex is simply not available. Trauma can come from like fear of being hit, being hungry, having an unstable home life. So a student who's suffering from this kind of toxic stress is incapable of learning, regardless of how skilled or experienced the teacher may be. So when we teach Unitive Justice conflict resolution, we utilize some circle processes and some reflective listening that has some very redundant questions. And the purpose of that is to make them feel safe, to have a safe environment. Once they feel safe, students and adults, they can move up into that cortical function in their brain. These are the 14 structures of Unitive Justice that Sylvia has developed in her theory. She starts with a punitive system, and each of the 14 arcs that she has identified have a unitive alternative with no punitive measures. And this is system change. Each one of these is taught in our classes. I'll give you just an example of one. When we go from the event to context, when you look at the event of something that's happened, for instance, a child threw a water bottle at somebody who was searching their backpack on their way into school. She could have been charged with assault. But when they looked at the context of what happened, she was homeless and she had dirty clothes in her backpack. She didn't want anyone to know she was homeless. So instead of punishing her and charging her with assault, the principal of the school actually opened a laundromat in the school so that students could wash their clothes there, because she wasn't the only one that was homeless. So that's a very different way of looking at something, looking at the context rather than just the event. So what we do with Unitive Justice is we train the teachers and administrators. We don't actually work with the students. We train them in Unitive Justice and they change. They teach the children and the children change. And what we see is that the children become the agents of the school culture change. We've done this in a number of schools in Hopewell, Virginia. And when we look at the number of reportable offenses to the Department of Education, 1 year from the time we started, in the middle school, there was 160 reportable offenses to the Department of Education. And this can be anything from assault to, smoking or, something else in the school. From August of 2022, when we started teaching this, to August 23, we see more than a 50% drop in the number of reportable incidences in the middle school and the high school as well. Besides the United States, we've been teaching this in Uganda, and that's kind of a long story that I won't go into how we got there, but the school in Uganda is pictured on the top, and there has been a new school built, and this school is, it only cost $20,000 to build this school, and it now has, you can see the latrine outside in the school on the top, but now there is an actual well that's been dug for the community, and the kids are actually in a school building, and there's over 200 children that go to school there. When we went to Uganda, one of our teachers that went is named Sarah Daves, and she actually spent 6 months in Uganda training teachers in the Wakiso district. And she told them the first day she was there, this was before classes have started, that there's no corporal punishment. In Uganda, there is corporal punishment all the time, even though it's against the law. The teachers were brought up that way. They were all beaten in school, and they have been beating children in school because that's what they know. The teachers actually sat Sarah down and said, that's never going to work in Uganda because we beat our children, and that's how you get them to comply, and that's how you make them into good people. Well, Sarah said, no caning. We're just not going to do that here. And the teachers said, okay, they'll try it. Well, what happened next is nothing short of a miracle. Corporal punishment was eliminated. The students' grades have soared. The atmosphere is one of joy, and some of the teachers who were ready to quit the profession have found new passion in what they're doing. We actually are starting another class in September at this particular school with all their new teachers and employees. And this is the pictures of the inside of the school and the teachers being trained with Sarah and some of the students. Currently, there's a school under construction in Mayuga, Uganda. And that one is, I think I missed a slide here too. Let me see. Nope, I didn't. And that one is, this is what it will look like. And we are going to be training all of those teachers starting in December. The school won't be finished until February, but we're starting those teachers in September. I'm sorry, in December. And Unitive Justice will be able to be available across the globe now, thanks to the platform, ILIAS. So this is what the platform looks like. And I don't know if I can share my screen, Stefan, as far as the site itself, since I had to upload this. Maybe you can let me know that. But this is what the site on ILIAS looks like, the Unitive Justice Academy. And we have a number of classes that we're going to be able to teach on there. We started another school in Greensville Public High School in Emporia, Virginia, where we have 15 teachers and administrators. We started 2 weeks ago. And this is the first time using this platform, and it works just great. And Stefan has been wonderful in helping us get this up and running. Stefan, can I share my screen and show this or not? Show the site?
Molly, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I think you cannot share your screen, but I can show them the
okay.
The homepage. Is it okay for you, or do you want
Yes.
to show them special things?
Nope, you can go ahead and go to the homepage, and then I can tell you where to go. That'll be great. There is a school in Bulgaria that's interested in this training also. The biggest rate limiting factor we have right now is the number of teachers that we have. And because of being on the ILIAS platform, we are also going to be having a training available on the ILIAS platform so that we can teach people all over the world. The ones in Uganda that are going to be training this month, many of them will be able to teach this course after the training and be able to use this platform. So this is really opening the world up for us. Did anyone have any questions while he's pulling up this site?
Are you? Is it the last site? So I show them the homepage, and then is it the
Yes.
last slide from you?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you, Molly.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting me talk. It's been just amazing working with this site with you, Stefan.
So, are there any questions?
Hello. Thank you very much for your presentation. I just wanted to know, for how long has your platform been running?
We have had it up and running only 2 weeks with a school starting, but Stefan and I have been working on it for a number of months, and it's just working beautifully. I'm so happy with it, and a lot of these people don't have a lot of experience. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. Some of these people don't have a lot of experience with using online platforms, and so it's been very streamlined and easy to teach them how to use this. So we're just so grateful.
Thank you, Molly. Another question, probably? But we finished perfectly. It's 5 a.m. p.m. in our, but you are in the morning, no? 7 hours, I think. So it's 10 p.m. 10 a.m.
Yes, it's 10 a.m. here.
Okay. So not too early for you.
No.
So,
Stefan, if you just want to show them what we've developed on the page, that would be great. And that's really the end of my presentation, to just show what we've done on there. And yeah, so you can go ahead with that.
yes, I will show them. I have to log in and I will show
Okay.
them 2-3 more pages.
Okay.
Thank you, Molly.
Thank you.
I think we hear us again in the next days.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. Have a great conference.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.